Hey you guys, it's me Michelle from Awake Society, and I'm gonna do a quick video on true self-care. Before I start the video, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I will really appreciate it and it'll help out my video. Now, what is true self-care? True self-care isn't always bubble bath, it isn't always face masks, and it isn't always like pampering yourself, eating chocolate and comfort food. Social media makes self-care out to be as something like all rosy, all pampery with candles and essential oils. Now don't get me wrong, that type of self-care is needed, and I personally like to pamper myself once a week, so there's nothing wrong with indulging yourself. But true self-care is setting boundaries. It's saying no to the things that you don't want so you could say yes to the things that you actually want to do. True self-care is holding yourself accountable and taking responsibilities to make the decisions that your future self will thank you for. True self-care is holding yourself accountable for self-destructive habits and behavior. True self-care is letting go of the people who no longer serve you. Self-care isn't always easy, nor is it comfortable. And in all reality, true self-care isn't really doing the things that you want to do, but doing the things that you need to do for your own well-being. So how do you cultivate true self-care? First of all, instead of blaming others, it's taking the responsibility for your situation and outcome. It's a lot easier to point fingers and blame other people for the things that happen to you. It's a lot easier to say, oh, he did this to me, or she did that to me, or he said this, or she did that, and because of that, this happened to me. Sure, there's situations that maybe people meddle in, but when you come to look at it, the majority of the outcomes that we put ourselves in, we got ourselves in that position, okay? Instead of telling you that you can't do something, it's asking yourself, is it that I really can't do it, or that I just don't know how to do it yet? Is it because I didn't do research to figure out what to do? Is it because I haven't talked to the right people that can point me to the right direction? Is it because I haven't asked help yet? True self-care is, instead of not giving you the opportunity to make mistakes, it's allowing yourself to be a beginner and starting the things that you really want to do. It's a lot easy. It's easy to put ourselves in this mentality and look at people who have achieved the things that we want to do and see the knowledge that they have and how far they've gone and all the success that they have. But we forget that those people who are in the position that we want to be, they were once a beginner. True self-care is, instead of comparing yourself to others, it's comparing your present self, the you now, to your past self. That's the person that you need to compare yourself to. Compare yourself to your past self and ask yourself, have I grown? Have I learned my lessons? Have I actually applied the changes that I've wanted to apply in my life? It's comparing to where you were to where you are. True self-care is, instead of seeking validation, is looking for true, authentic connection. There's a big difference between feeling empty and looking externally and looking for other people to fill in that gap. But in all honesty, we are already full. We're already complete. Other people can only add to our happiness. Other people can only accompany us in our journey. True self-care is, instead of sabotaging yourself, is asking yourself, what is it in the environment right now that is triggering me, that is causing me to sabotage my situation? What is it about the environment or the person that I am talking to that is causing me to self-destruct? True self-care is, instead of criticizing yourself, is learning to love yourself, is to have compassion for yourself, is to understand that you're human and that we are going to make mistakes. Part of self-care is, instead of being hard on yourself for the mistakes that you've done, is realizing that you did the best that you could with the knowledge resources and tools that you had at the moment. Sure, maybe the future self will do things differently, but it's because you grew. But you're doing the best that you can right now with the knowledge that you have. Keep that in mind. True self-care is, instead of living in the past and in the future, is living in the now, being present, being grateful, being happy, being content with the things that you have. It's easy for us to live in the past. It's easy to feel sad, to feel hurt, to feel pain for the things that has happened to us. It's also a lot easier to look at the future and get extremely anxious about it. It's really easy to just fixate so much on, I have to do this, I have to do that, because I want to do this in the future. No, just be here, be now, and do the things that you have to do now. You'll get to where you need to be when you are ready. And that's one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn. True self-care is, instead of projecting a fake persona onto other people, a face mask, which is what Carl Jung called. That's like the persona. It's like your social mask that you put onto other people in order to be accepted, in order to be part of the group. But there's nothing worse than being fake and putting yourself in situations that you don't want to be in. There's nothing worse than being surrounded by people that you don't want to be surrounded by. So true self-care is being authentic. It's putting yourself out there. It's being true to yourself. Hell yeah, it's extremely scary. We want to be accepted. It's part of our biology. But in all honesty, the right people will gravitate to you once you start being authentic and honest to yourself. Now, we must learn to distinguish between when we don't want to put the work to get better versus when we actually need to rest and recharge. Look at it this way. Through self-care, you build a future that you will not have to run away from, that you will not have to constantly be resting and recharging from. So I hope this video can change your mind on what true self-care is. And don't be too hard on yourself. If you slack in some of these, that's fine, because I'm not perfect, and some of the things that I told you guys in this video I still struggle with. I'm not perfect. So that'll be all. Bye.